The Majesty of the Abyss by Munster Adams. It was in the dregs of Gheorghe Petrescu's ruin that he first beheld the ineffable figure, the vision that would claw ceaselessly at the fragile threads of his sanity. Drawn by an enigmatic yearning as oppressive as it was inexplicable, he descended into the cavernous abyss, a ruin long forgotten, where the whispers of time lingered in malign decay. The call had haunted him, threading itself through his dreams and thoughts like the spectral caress of a lost lover. His hands quivered as he ventured deeper, the air around him thick with a scent both intoxicating and vile, a miasma that bound him irrevocably to this doomed pilgrimage. In the heart of that subterranean catacomb, an altar loomed before him like a malignant tumor, festooned with sigils etched by hands that had never known the light of this world. Above it hovered a form, a grotesque embodiment of nightmare and obsession, a creature spawned from the primal fears of a cosmos too vast, too indifferent to acknowledge humanity's fleeting existence. Its shape defied mortal reason, a monstrous synthesis of deity and insect, its wings stretched taut against unearthly ligaments, its limbs moving with an alien grace. Its body pulsed with a sickly vitality, its skeletal frame clothed in writhing, iridescent flesh that shimmered with patterns too intricate, too maddening for comprehension. The void where eyes should have been fixed itself upon him, twin abysses that drank the light and held him captive in their fathomless gaze. They were not eyes, but hungers, vast and inscrutable, consuming the very essence of all they regarded. In that darkness, Gheorghe felt the entity's craving for despair, an insatiable appetite for the frailty of the human soul, as though his mortality were a feast laid bare. This being, this thing of alien majesty, was older than the gods of men, older even than the devils that haunted their dreams. It was an echo from an age before form, before language, before the universe itself had crystallized into meaning. Around it knelt robed figures, their silhouettes wavering against a backdrop of shifting shadows and eldritch light. Prostrated in a rapture that teetered between ecstasy and terror, they chanted in a dirge-like rhythm, their voices entwining into a melody that clawed at the edges of the mind. As Gheorghe watched, the creature unfurled its vast ebon wings, each feather a celestial tapestry inscribed with the deaths of stars and the lamentations of galaxies long extinguished. It leaned forward, extending a limb that was neither entirely claw nor hand, its talons glistening with black ichor that devoured the very light. The flesh of its outstretched limb rippled with a sinister vitality, a grotesque dance of scars and wounds inflicted in realms beyond human reckoning. The robed figures chanted with growing fervor, their hymns a cadence of devotion and despair, each syllable laden with meaning too ancient, too dreadful to endure. They spoke of communion with the infinite, of dissolution into a vast, alien ecstasy, where identity would be obliterated, leaving only the monstrous divinity to remain. Yet in that moment of unutterable horror, a dark yearning seemed to awaken within Gheorghe. Forbidden allure radiated from the outstretched talon, and its promise, a caress both ruinous and sublime, seemed to shatter his will. Gheorghe's mind warred with itself, torn between the instinct to flee and the insidious seduction of the incomprehensible. He stepped forward, trembling, as though the act itself splintered his soul. Then came the voice, not in sound, but in an invasive presence that writhed through the labyrinth of Gheorghe's mind. You seek eternity, yet you falter. You crave knowledge, yet you recoil from its cost. Fragile creature, flickering flame in the void, there is beauty in your frailty, and I shall devour it. Within those hollow, abyssal eyes, The indifferent expanse of the cosmos revealed itself to Gheorghe. He saw the deaths of worlds, silent and unmarked, the extinguishing of stars without ceremony. His own life, his triumphs, griefs, and joys stood bare before the entity's gaze, rendered insignificant beneath the weight of infinite reality. He was nothing. Yet, in his nothingness, there was an exquisite quality. In that instant, Gheorge's soul rendered as if by unseen claws. One part recoiled in terror, while the other surged irresistibly toward the alien Majesty. His flesh ignited, not with flame, but with a transformation that unraveled the very fabric of his humanity. His body contorted, twisted into shapes that defied mortal anatomy. His skin became a canvas of writhing patterns, a nightmarish artistry that fused pain with beauty in grotesque ecstasy. Suspended in the creature's grasp, Gheorghe's mind splintered and dissolved. Time unraveled, leaving him suspended between realms. He lingered there, a shadow on the precipice of worlds, until at last he emerged, staggering into the pallid daylight of the waking world, his mind a shattered kaleidoscope of visions too vast, too dreadful to recount. The melodies of the creature's hymn lingered, whispering through the fractures of his thoughts, promises of rapture and dissolution, of beauty beyond pain, danced at the edges of his dreams. Gheorghe bore the mark of the abyss, his soul branded as its servant, his existence forever tethered to the monstrous divinity he had encountered. Now, even in the silence of his most private moments, Gheorghe hears its call, a relentless whisper of ecstasy and despair. The abyss claims him, drawing him ever closer to its yawning chasm, to the majesty of its infinite hunger. He is a wanderer on the edge of darkness, forever bound to the eternal witness of his ruinous transformation. For in that abyss, Gheorghe glimpsed eternity, and eternity, in turn, consumed him.